All right, guys, welcome back to the job site here in Leicester, North Carolina. And I mean, it is a perfect day. It's like high 60s, it's overcast. A big change from last week from it just being searing hot. Unfortunately, I wasn't here in time this morning for my buddy Jared, who owns Willow Creek Trucks, a dump truck service here in the Asheville area. So if you need somebody that can spread gravel on a driveway, man, he can do it almost as good as me. Um, but I can always rely on him just to go to a job and do a perfect job as good as he can. But anyway, he was here early this morning and he got this fresh coat of road bond down. And you can see the difference. You know, this red area right here is what it was. This is what it looks like with the fresh road bond. So he's going to be bringing us a couple more loads today. Hopefully I can catch a couple of clips of him getting his spread on. And what we're going to do is move down here and start leveling that road up where it was eroded badly. I've had a little bit different change in my thoughts on how I'm going to do that. So let's run down there and I'll explain what's going on. Okay, kind of my goal for this channel is to inform people who are going to take a service like what I do and what they can expect from it. Also, I want to explain how people are trying to get into this business and how to make it as simple as they can and make as few mistakes as they can. Every movement of the machine costs you, the operator, time, and it costs money. So you want to maximize every movement, which involves you thinking ahead about 3 steps of every job. Right now I'm sipping on coffee, walking the machine down to where we're going to start working today. The reason that I'm running this track down this grassy side is because a lot of times with a gravel road, especially when it rains with regular traffic, it pushes material out, and that material on the side is usually pretty soft. So instead of thinking that you have to bring in 6 inches of fresh material to build that roadbed back up to where water can run off the sides, you track along it, and I can see it's pressing it down about 2 inches. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fluff back up. So we're packing this shoulder down, so it's going to take 3, maybe 4 inches of fresh material to build this roadbed up enough to crown it and get water off. You think 1 to 2 inches isn't that much, but when you do a 2,000-foot driveway, that's a lot of material. And that can mean not only the difference between saving your customer money that's unnecessarily spent, but it can cost you the bid if you price it too high. Now, as far as an estimation point, when you walk up on a job like this, you don't know that you can press that shoulder down. So you do want to quote it using the maximum amount of material that you think you might have to put down. And then during the process of doing the job, you can go to your customer and be like, hey, I'm pressing the shoulder down. It's going to save you this many thousands of dollars. That kind of attitude and treating your customers like that, that's what gets you referrals, not doing the bare minimum. It's always when you go above and beyond on your projects that people, they love you, you know, they're glad they hired you, and the more glad that they hired you, the more chance they're going to go out of their way to tell their friends, family, neighbors that you did a great job for them. You tried to save them money, and it should make you feel good as a person as well. So we're going to track on down through here, pack this shoulder down, and we'll go over what we're going to do at the bottom. Okay, here's a good little spot for me to talk about how you can tell where a road has a water issue. When you got a road that's built with road bond, there's fines mixed in, okay? Just like right here, and it's dusty, so you can see that it's dry, so you can see that dust poof up. That means you got fines and dirt mixed in with the gravel. Right here in this trench, hear how loose it is? There's no fines in there, so we know that water is being channeled right there, and it's washing the fines out because it's getting more momentum. So let me show you a quick way, just with the bucket, how to break these edges up, and it will collect fresh material here on the sides and pull it into this trench. And for one thing, it's going to fill that trench up, but it's going to make a little bit better base for when we bring that fresh material and give us a good smooth surface. Before we leave this job site, so I can really get this stuff set well. Okay, so number one, hate this size rock because it will always cut a trench when you're trying to grade. Okay, so now you got the ground loosened up and you're like, oh no, I've just made a mess. It's rough looking. That's where your blade comes into play. We're just going to pull up here, set the blade down lightly till we hear it crunch the ground, and then I'm just going to back drag it and it will fill this area in and smooth it out too. That first time backing up, it doesn't really do the job. No problem, just do it another time or two in the other direction. Still don't have a whole lot of fines, but when we bring that good, I'm probably going to have him put me about 4 inches of material right here, and that way we've got enough material for those fines to sink down into this, and after we roll it, this road will be solid. Moving on to the next part. All right guys, so let's talk about what we're going to do on this little stretch of road. This may or may not be bedrock. I'm going to try to get it out, but you can see that at some point they did have a little bit of a ditch line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the scrub off and throw it off in the pasture. And then I'm going to re-dig this ditch line. I'm going to make it pretty significant. And all the dirt that comes out of here, we're going to put in this low area and build it up. And then the very last thing we're going to do is we're just going to cut that whole shoulder off all the way down. And that way water can roll off. Then I'm trying to decide whether I want to do a 12 or 15-inch culverts. You know, I could do a 15 right where the bend starts to shoot water across under the road. That way, this isn't a ditch. This is going to be our ditch, water going under the road. So I'm not sure. I'm going to think on it, and as I dig, I'm going to look at it and see how water's coming off and make a decision on whether I want to do 2 12 inches or 1 15-inch to stay on budget. I think a 2 12s would be more beneficial, but we'll see as I dig into this, and you guys can see how it develops as we go along. Okay, so here's where thinking ahead kind of comes in. We dug down and got through the topsoil, which is usually like a really loose, light brown, dark brown color, and we're already hitting clay. So what you want to think about also is digging this ditch maybe a 2/3 to twice as deep as you want it to end up being, because after a couple of rains and some travel and over time adding new material to this road, this ditch is going to get, you know, silt and material spread into it, so it's not going to end up being as deep. So, and the other thing is also, after I get through digging the ditch, I'm going to track down the edge of it with the machine, and that's what'll put that nice angle on the side of it. Alright, so there's the ditch line. I want the bottom of it nice and smooth and uniform. That way there's no places for the water to come to and then drop and pick up speed, because where it drops and hits, no matter how small, that water's going to start spinning. And that's when it's going to start undermining and eroding worse. Right here is where I'm going to stop and put one of our culvert pipes. So it comes down, it slopes up just a little, and I'm going to line this with riprap. And that way, it will help catch a lot of the silt in between those big rocks before it can get into our new pipe. And that's what happens a lot of times. Somebody will cut these and not pack them, and they'll put a pipe in, and next thing you know, the entrance to that pipe is just silted up and not functioning. The water jumps out and you end up with that. So we're going to do this the right way. Step number 2 on fixing this road. This shoulder is about 1 foot too high, and I'm not really getting a whole lot of material out of my ditch line to fill this trench. So what I'm going to do is use the bucket to strip that top layer of sod off, and then any dirt I'm going to try to pull it in, and then I'm going to regrade with the blade. I'm pretty much going to keep the grade of this road, but this low spot's going to come out. All right, as always, or as a lot of times, this would be easy with a dozer, but I've not yet invested in one, and I'm just a poor old country boy, so we're gonna work with what we got, right or wrong. I know there's a lot of contractors out there that have different ways of doing this stuff, but this is how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna continue all the way up to the first curve this way, and I'll just do a time lapse of the whole thing. We're not going to reposition the camera, but after I get done with everything, we'll walk it, and I'll show you how I've got it shaped and why. And yeah, I think it'll turn out real nice. Hopefully we can get some gravel on this thing today. Okay, this road's just what I want it to do. I want to get a lot of the water that falls on the road just washing off into this field so it can dissipate. I don't want to pitch it back this way in this particular situation and have all this water going down to a pipe that's going to put it that way anyway. So I'm going to continue this ditch on up just a little ways, probably just to the bend, and I'm gonna go ahead and order our pipe and get it on the way, and then we're just gonna keep on with the grade that we've got going on, and we'll check in once I get it finished up. Pretty well roughed in. I'm going to take the tractor and the box grader and drag this road a few times and get it just to where I want it to be. So I got that road section the way I want it. So while I'm waiting on material to arrive, I'm going to go on down and we're just going to fill in that ditch and just leave it. We've got several days without rain, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it in, pack it with machinery, and then every time a dump truck comes, I'm going to tell them to run over in that where I plugged that ditch up to really get it compacted, and then we're going to re-dig it out, line it with some riprap. Okay, so here's our next section, and these areas right in here is a good hard clay. So as long as it's a lane width wide, I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit so that water can flow straight and even. We may use these guardrails that he's had here. He was going to put them in, and like right here, this is no good where it's starting to really eat in and narrow this road. So I'm gonna dig in, get some good red clay, fill that section in, and now I'm just gonna pack it, and then I'm gonna cut it out with a nice slope to it, and we'll line that area with the riprap. Now right here is probably the worst section we're gonna contend with. And you can see this bank has been sliding out and really just eat away at this. So what I'm gonna have to do is scuff this up to where it's not just smooth, and then dig in here and get some good red clay, pack it in there, and then I'll probably just stretch it out from here on down to just past the end of that guardrail there. I'm just gonna pack this whole thing in and pack and redo it. Alright, just to let you guys know why I'm not completely filling the ditch in. We got lucky, and I'm only having to scrape about that much silt off before I'm hitting red clay dirt. And that stuff really packs, and for the most part, when it gets wet, if anything, it gets really slippery and kind of slimy, but it really doesn't wash after it's really compacted. So we got lucky on this one, and we're just going to keep on cutting this ditch down through here. As long as we're hitting red clay, we should be able to widen this road out real nice. All right, so we're right down toward the bottom, and where they had this berm built up, I can see why. We've hit bedrock. It's just there's no finding an edge to try to roll it out. It's not in their budget to be able to get a breaker up here. So I'm just going to start digging back until I hit soft ground, and right there's where I'll put one of the culverts in, and we don't have enough road to collect water to where we can have to worry about washing. So that'll be an easy problem to fix. Well, of course, I missed the action on getting this load spread down too, but this section of road turned out really nice. We got our ditch put in here and got it good coat of road bond. We're gonna put another coat down. It'll be twice this thick. But I wanted him to stretch this load out because it's the last one of the day, and it's been cloudy and cool all day. So just in case it blew up a little rain, I didn't want this thing turning to mud. So went quite well. Ended up stopping my ditch line right there, but I will extend it all the way up to where the original ditch stopped, right about here. So you can see that 16-ton load went pretty long way. Very pleased. So thank you, Jared Wells with Willow Creek Trucks of Leicester, North Carolina. We'll be back tomorrow to knock this shoulder on nice and smooth, work this road a little bit more. You guys have a great day, and if you're in Western North Carolina and you need a road fixed, give us a call. We'd love to work for you.